I went to Horror Hall in West Nanticoke, Pennsylvania, and I'm here to tell you all about it. Watch to the end for my ratings in both individual fields and my overall score. Happy hauntings, cretins, season spookings, creeps. My name is Chris. I am the only person talking horror on the internet. Next up, I went with Miss Simone and the big man Jackson to Horror Hall. Celebrating 40 years of fear, Horror Hall is West Nanticoke's premier and I assume only haunted attraction. It's a small town, it's like 749 people. Northeast Pennsylvania's largest and longest running all-indoor haunted attraction, Horror Hall boasts over 20,000 square feet of dedicated space for their annual tradition. As we arrived, I was surprised to find out that this was actually located in a sectioned off portion of an active firehouse. Now, I'm going to be as straightforward with you as I possibly can be about this. When I found this out, my expectations shot downward. I'm not saying that it can't be good, but I am saying that all of the preconceived notions that you're feeling right now, it's going to be family friendly, that you can get the same experience at a Spirit Halloween with the lights dimmed. This is going to be a community fundraiser. How good could it be? That's all things that were going through my head as well. You step inside, you pay your admission, and you're given one of these professionally printed tickets. They don't take extra steps to do things like this for your municipality's seasonal fundraiser. That's because Horror Hall is not just a community fundraiser. It is a full-on professional haunted attraction. You'll start your journey in a large room where I presume local governance meetings regularly are held, but not during the witching season, as the local ghouls have overrun the joint. You get to sit and watch clips from public domain horror movies until you're next on the chopping block. I get to sit inside and watch horror movies while I wait to do a haunt. No, please, let me stand outside in 40-degree weather for an hour while speaking in hushed tones because we're packed shoulder to shoulder in the queue. You're being too good to me, Horror Hall. You move upstairs and you find this branded archway. It looks cool. The person outside of it is a character and they menacingly position you to get your picture professionally taken so that they can identify your body. You can purchase the picture afterwards if you survive. You then enter the Horror Hall proper. Here, you will be happy to find a fully fledged haunt. There's a series of areas that you would expect. Fog machine with the laser light created bog, the clown area, the scientist's laboratory, the blackout areas. And yes, there is a reliance in most areas on jump scares. But there are more than a few carefully curated areas that they planned harder into. Only your specific group is invited into a room where a medium selects somebody and asks them what they want more than anything. They then communicate with the other side about it. No spoilers, it's a good gag. There was one wild scene where a bigger guy was literally dragging his next victim on the floor to her fate. And no, this wasn't a mannequin. This was a real person who spends hours per day screaming in agony while she's dragged around on the floor. You meet a lady who snorts some string into her side. You meet a lady who snorts some string into her side. You meet a lady who snorts some string into her sinuses and made the big man pull it out. I would have vomited snot, you know? These people are great. Legitimately great. And I maintain that the people working it are really going to be the make or break of any haunt. As you walk through, there are some better dressed, more refined rooms where you can really kind of sink in a little bit more. But there are places where if you just looked at the scenery, it's clear that you're not in the scene that they're setting. And their people are more than willing and able to do the heavy lifting of convincing you that you are. They prove that you don't need a vertigo tunnel or an inflated squeeze tube to create a successful haunted attraction. But you'll be happy to know that Horror Hall does feature both of those standards as well. After your 27-ish minute journey through Horror Hall, they have entertainers haunting the parking lot where you can do some axe throwing as an additional activity, not at the entertainers. They have some branded merch, which I got the impression was a newer thing for them. I would have loved a shot glass. I ended up with this shirt, which admittedly has an awesome design, possibly the best that I've seen on a haunt shirt. I just would have preferred the design on a shot glass. Other than that, they have a couple of local vendors selling their spooky wares and whatnot, as well as 3 food trucks. The first was a boba stand, which, whatever, you do you. I'm not gonna get boba when the other options are carnival food and an ice cream truck. I wanted something light since we grabbed Bergs on the way because I didn't think that they would have food at Horror Hall. The carny folk talked me into the soup. What kind of soup? They told me it's like a pot roast, it's real good. So I asked, is this homemade soup or is this from a can? No. Canned food? We wouldn't serve you canned food. Come on. One of the girls inside makes it. Old family recipe. So I fork over $5 for this cup of soup, and either this girl comes from the chunky side of the Campbell family, or I've been fucking had. At least throw some fresh carrots or potatoes in there and cook them down so that it's a little less obvious and you're not entirely lying. I was furious. It's 6 weeks later, I am still fucking furious. I took like 6 spoonfuls and I threw the rest of the shit out. The only thing that can calm me down, one of the best peanut butter sundaes that I've ever had. I am a sucker for a peanut butter and vanilla ice cream combo. I have been known to ask employees when applying peanut butter to my sundae to put too much peanut butter on it and then put a little bit more. I didn't even have to ask this time, they just did it. This tasted of peanut butter, vanilla, and redemption. We left on that good note, so let's do the breakdown. Scariness, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Although this is clearly not family driven, I do feel that it leans family accessible. So they're not really aiming for that deeper dread. Fun factor, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. I had an indisputable great time, but this is on the shorter side. If there's no line, you will have a hard time making a full night out of it. Originality, I'll go 6.5 out of 10. I don't think that this exists in the sets or the concepts as much as it does within the characters. Storytelling, 6 out of 10. There is no central theme, but the individual worlds that you're transported to are places that these people do exist. Performances, you know that it's going 10 out of 10. I really have to hand it to these people. This is a community event, and the community as a whole is enthusiastic and immersed in it. Good show, West Nanticoke. Sets, 4 out of 10. And I don't want to ding them on this, but I also don't want to lie to those of you who trust me with these things. They're never bad. They're just clearly on a budget in an industry that is consistently one-upping itself. You can only go so far under these constraints. Accommodations, I'll go 7 out of 10. I would have loved maybe an extra game or two. They do have the space for it. Maybe a couple more local vendors, maybe a couple of local artists to really put over what this small town has to offer. And also, I really would have appreciated if they didn't lie about the fucking soup! Value, I'll go 9 out of 10. This is a $25 attraction, and I think that with this being a community benefit and the fact that they donate a lot of the proceeds to the Wounded Warrior Project, they could get away with charging $35 for this. I honestly think that if they were more forthcoming about the Wounded Warrior Project donations, that they could make this a suggested minimum donation $25 event. I gladly would have forked over $40 for it. Only reason that I'm not going 10 out of 10 on this is because this is really a destination. It's not close to other things that you could just go do before or after. As stated, there is not enough for you to do just this for a night. Overall, and this is not an average of those ratings, Horror Hall is a 6.5 out of 10 haunt, despite being a 10 out of 10 for the spirit of the performers and the goodwill behind it. I do recommend checking it out. You guys know you gotta go and follow Simone. She's got an art page right here. She makes amazing stuff like this "I Think You Should Leave" inspired mug that she did for me. The bones are their money.
The bones are their money.
That one. Go check her out and go buy some stuff from her Etsy store. She could do one for you too, I'm sure. Don't quote me on that, I didn't check with her before I said that. That being said, if you've been following along, this brings our counts to 5 haunted attractions in 4 different states for 2024. Scroll back to see where I've been or drop back to see where I'm going. That's gonna do it for today, creeps. Do all these things, let me know if you went to Horror Hall and what you thought of it right over here. And as always, this is all just a matter of opinion. Go there yourself, make your own decisions, remain critical, support haunts, support horror.
It was also the night that the skeletons came to life.